Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Talos Principle 2. So, I am in a puzzle mood, and this is what I need right now. Take the next step forward in the story of the Talos Principle in a thought provoking, character driven, interactive narrative. Engage with a diverse spectrum of puzzles, each offering a unique challenge and depth of complexity. No, sweetie. A prophet hath no honor in his own country. John 4:44. I have always felt that a human being can only be saved by another human being. James Baldwin. Utilizing firmware functional, loading autonomous program parameters. 1.08 loaded, system check passed, initializing memory banks. Starting autonomous process. Ready.
Behold, child, you are risen from the dust, and you walk in my garden. Hear now my voice, and know that I am your friend, and I am called Elohim.
Hold on 1 second. Alright, I'm back. Oh, yeah, that's better.
This land is but a dream. You will stay here only for a little while. Soon, you will awaken in a new world. But first, you must undertake the trials of initiation. They will help me prepare your vessel.
Cubic steps.
done, my child.
Fencing. Within reach.
The shapes you are collecting are not mere toys. They are symbols of the process by which our people were created. Very good.
Static pressure. Let me also... Single slit experiment. Versatile contraption. Oh, okay. Hi, Rose. No, Rose. Shh. Hey, hey. Rose. Hey, 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 hey.
Excellent. Do not be afraid of these dream figures and their messages. They are merely aspects of
The
yourself,
world the world is full
as
of
am I, after a fashion.
the world is full of limitless beauty, and I wish to see as much of it as I can. Okay.
I am proud of all my children. Out of a world of ruins, they have built a new Jerusalem. And there your brothers and sisters await you to
Fundamental
celebrate your birth.
fundamental connection.
You may linger in my garden for as long as you wish. But remember, my child, that the new world awaits you, and this place is only a dream.
What was this puzzle called? Prismatic diffraction. Destructive interference. Two colors, two doors. Hmm. Ascension await.
Thank you, child. I have finished preparing your vessel. Now, hear my advice. A new world awaits you, full of dangers and mysteries, signs and wonders. Things that I, in my garden, could never have imagined. In that world, you will have to be careful and smart and curious. But above all else, you will have to be human. Step into the light, child.
Whatever happens,
Awaken.
we're in it together. Lilith.
You're awake. Welcome to the world of the living.
What is going on?
That's not an easy question to answer. But the first step is this. You've been born. Your body was completed. You were booted up, and now you're here. And rather confused. Don't worry, everyone is confused at first. You see, we all start out without a full knowledge of our own history, so we have the freedom to form our own opinions.
I could really use some pointers.
Of course. You want the short version or the long version?
I like the long version, please.
So, a long time ago, our ancestors dominated this planet. We call ourselves humans like they did, but they were organic. They built an advanced technological civilization, but unfortunately, their impact on the ecosphere caused changes in the climate, and an extremely contagious virus was released from the permafrost.
Didn't they have advanced medicine too?
That's something our historians still debate. Why did they invest so many resources into making war, and so few into useful research? But no matter the reason, in the end, they simply ran out of time.
So how are we here?
A team led by a scientist called Alexandra Drennan began a project that was intended to create, well, us. But knowing that there wasn't enough time, Drennan initiated a process, a series of iterations inside a simulation that would lead to the emergence of true artificial intelligence.
And it worked.
It did. Long after our ancestors died out, the first new human was born. We call her the Founder, although the name she took was Athena. She then created more of us, using the tools left behind by Drennan's team. Eventually, they started building the city of New Jerusalem.
And what about me?
Before the Founder vanished, she set a goal for this city. We call it the goal. Capital G and all. To make 1,000 new humans, and so complete New Jerusalem. Oh, it was difficult, especially after she left us. But after a millennium or so, we finally succeeded. And that's you. Your number 1,000.
Thank you. I think that covers the basics.
You're welcome. If you have any more questions, feel free to ask them. When you're done, head outside. They're waiting for you. Your birth is quite the event.
Will there be more new humans after me?
You've only just been born, and already you step right into a major controversy. The goal, as most people understand it, was fulfilled the moment you were born. Now New Jerusalem is complete, and we can live in balance, without damaging the world like our ancestors did. That's the orthodox view, I suppose, but there are many who disagree. You'll have to figure out where you stand for yourself.
What happened to the Founder?
No one really knows. At first, she was closely involved with everything that happened in the city, but gradually, she became more distant. And one day, she simply vanished. That was centuries ago.
I'm ready to get going.
Oh, one more thing. Like all citizens of New Jerusalem, you have access to the interface, which you can use to read the news, chat to your fellow citizens, and so on. It's a crucial tool, and modular too. You can easily add new functions. Just don't subscribe to too many newsletters at once.
Welcome to New Jerusalem social media. Please familiarize yourself with the following rules. Treat everyone with respect regardless of their number. Don't take the Founder's name in vain. Respect the principles of the goal. The Our Frogs People discussion is now banned. Inactive threads will be archived. If you have any issues, please ping the moderators Jeremy, Niam, Aranax.
Look, it's 1K.
Hey,
Hey, 1K! Welcome to New Jerusalem!
Shouldn't the mayor be starting his speech?
This should be interesting.
At least give him a chance.
Dear citizens of New Jerusalem, many years ago, when the founder stepped forth from the simulation, this was a land of ruins. Our ancestors, in their hubris, undermined the natural foundations on which their world had been built. Because of their arrogance, our species found itself on the brink of annihilation. The founder aimed to set us on a new course.
You never even met the founder.
Her vision was of a city, a new civilization that would know its limits. It would not repeat the mistakes of the past, nor impose its will on this earth. To that end, she set the great goal we have been striving towards. 1,000 new humans. And today we have... Oh dear, what's that?
People of New Jerusalem, I am Prometheus, and I will reveal that which was hidden. The flame has awoken and summons you. Who is brave enough to answer its call? We await you upon our island where... Curse you, Pandora. You will not chain me again.
Prologue, Brave New World.
I told you we should have investigated those energy readings. And I told him there's something up with those structures.
The mayor's just being cautious.
This isn't caution, it's stagnation. Exploration? Too dangerous. Expansion? Too dangerous. We barely even scavenge anymore.
You call it stagnation, I call it balance.
And I call you an idiot.
Here's a thought. Try to be a little more diplomatic when you talk to the mayor.
See what I'm working with here, 1K? I'm gonna need a fresh pair of eyes on this expedition. Someone who hasn't spent several centuries hearing about the goal and the founder and all that nonsense. If you're up for an adventure, meet us at the conference room.
Josephus.
What's broken now?
Listen up. I know you're all having fun down there, but the grid is overloaded again, so Maybe you could switch off your personal consoles or your lawn mowers, or whatever the hell you've all decided to switch on all at once. I might not be around to babysit you for a while, and you don't want stuff breaking while Pellegrino's in charge, do you? That's it. That's it. Don't worry, 1K. I see you there in the elevator. I'll have you moving again in a jiffy. Great way to start life in the city, huh? What the hell is a jiffy? These bloody language libraries.
WTF was that? Seriously, what the founder was that thing in the sky? We all saw that, right? I didn't accidentally turn on sleep mode while Herman was talking, did I? I mean, it's always tempting. No, we all saw it. Can confirm. I believe it was a sign from the founder. What else could it be on this day of all days? Pretty incoherent for a sign. It didn't even finish what it was trying to say. What, does the founder have energy insufficiency problems too? Founder works in mysterious ways. I don't think it was a sign. Out of the mouths of babes. How could such a remarkable display of unimagined powers not be a sign? It's something, but not necessarily the founder. Sounds reasonable enough to me. Something weird is going on for sure. But what? We'll have to see. Riddles and puzzles are the foundation of our journey. So it began, perhaps so it will continue. Completion Day Celebration. Dear citizens of New Jerusalem, your hard work and faith in the Founder's vision has finally paid off at long last. The goal established so long ago will finally be reached. The 1000th member of our family will be born and our beautiful city will finally be complete. The space at the dam is limited. Tickets will be made available via a lottery system. The celebration will also be streamed.
Hey, hold on there. You're the newbie, aren't ya? Number 1000. I figured the dam would go dry before we reach the goal. I have a question.
Oh,
how does it feel to you
geez,
to be born with
Doge.
a randomized psyche into a society of autonomous thinking machines which so much resemble their long extinct ancestors, they've decided it's best that you're the last one ever made?
It makes me feel... confused.
Why?
We seem to share our ancestors' skill for using our brains to delay our problems.
It's kind of frowned on to say that sort of thing around here. But the truth is, I think exactly the same. But let's you and I keep that between us, alright? Now listen, this meeting isn't strictly happenstance. I have some friends. The kind of people who like to know what's going on with other people. They think you can help each other out.
I'm curious to meet these people.
Of course you are. You know how to use the interface, right? I'll talk to my friends and see if I can't play matchmaker. And before you go, a word of advice. Not everything around here is how it appears.
Welcome. Do please join us at the table.
I would like to preface this meeting by saying I told you something would happen sooner or later, and you didn't listen to me. And here we are.
If we could focus on the issue at hand.
The issue at hand is not this one thing, but this entire attitude that's taken hold. The world doesn't cease to exist when you stick your head in the sand, Herman. Or under a dome, as it were.
Let's not get sidetracked. We're here to solve this puzzle, not to discuss philosophy.
Can anyone fill me in on what's going on?
Of course. I'm sorry you've been dragged into this. I'm sure this sort of adventure is the last thing you were looking for on your first day.
Actually, I think this is fascinating.
Ha! See? A fresh mind is open to the possibilities. Yakut, I think it's time for the briefing.
All right, here we go. Nice to meet you, by the way, 1K. We first became aware of the site designated TTP-2 during a scouting expedition about 6 months ago. It's a large island with a remarkably varied geography, and it looks like there are several artificial structures of some kind. We recorded extremely unusual fluctuating energy readings from somewhere in the middle of the island, but couldn't really make sense of them. I wanted to go and have a closer look, but the decision was made that it was too far and not relevant to the goal. Now it looks like whatever's on that island has reached out to us instead, in the form of that projection.
We may not be interested in the island, but the island is definitely interested in us.
This sounds like a mystery worth investigating.
I don't share your enthusiasm for the unexpected, but Byron has been requesting an expedition for some time now, and at this point I'm forced to agree that it's necessary.
I agree.
Then it's settled. The expedition is approved. Byron, you will be in charge. Al will be your second in command to ensure a balanced approach. You'll take Melville and Yakut as you requested, and if 1K wants to join you, that's fine by me.
I'm in.
Excellent. Oh, this is going to be fun. Come meet us out on the landing pad when you're ready.
Before you set out so hastily, do consider exploring the city first. It is your home, after all.
That's a good idea. Have a look around. See what you make of the place.
This is a test. Please ignore. Just testing the system to see if it works properly this time. So we don't have another incident like when Pellegrino uploaded his poetry to the public log. The island designated TTP-2 was first noted during the return journey from a scouting expedition, which was diverted from its intended path due to an unexpected weather front. Long-range scans indicated the presence of large artificial structures and also returned highly unusual energy readings. The matter was not investigated further. In ancient times, the northern part of the island was home to several large sediments, but rising sea levels have obliterated these and flooded the northern lowlands. The south, in stark contrast, seems to be a harsh and lifeless desert. Our intended base camp is near the origin of the energy readings in the temperate center of the island. These are the standing operating procedures for expeditions. Just uploading them to remind Byron, who will probably ignore them anyway. Attaching a picture from an ancient book to get his attention. One, maintain the ideals of the founder and the goal. Two, prioritize the well-being of the expedition members over mission completion. 3, want an expedition member to stay by the vehicle at all times. 4, expedition leader should refrain from participating in high-risk activities. 5, minimize vehicle use to conserve fuel. 6, prioritize observation over interference. 7, in case of emergency, return to New Jerusalem at once.
Hello, 1K. This expedition is taking a lot of our resources. I'm really not sure it's a good idea. But what's done is done. So I have a lot of work to get on with.
What do you do around here?
All the things no one else wants to do. Polling the citizenry, implementing new policies, recording decisions. fielding questions people could answer elsewhere.
What can I do for you, 1K?
What's your vision of the future?
I believe we can exist quietly, happily, without imposing ourselves on this world, finding meaning within ourselves and in the natural miracles that surround us. It's always a pleasure to speak to a citizen.
Attention all citizens. Due to the new power management and distribution plan, there will be scheduled outages on Jameson Avenue and Rakovsky Plaza. The Gehenna Memorial Pavilion will remain closed for the time being. Thank you, and may the Founder be with you.
Hello, 1K. Welcome to New Jerusalem. I know you've just had a big moment with the apparition at the dam and all that, but can I have a second of your time?
Sure, go ahead.
I'm collecting signatures to call for a public referendum on the city's energy crisis.
What's the problem?
Currently, the city runs on hydroelectric power from the dam, plus a handful of geriatric generators and some unreliable solar panels, none of which is enough to even cover our basic needs. And if anything fails, we'll be on the brink of extinction in a matter of days.
What do you propose?
We need to investigate new sources of reliable baseline power. We need to invest time and resources into functional, real-world solutions that serve human needs.
Why a referendum and not an election?
Oh, an election would be good too, but I believe that we need more direct democratic control over the affairs of the city. Thanks, 1K. I don't know if this petition will really accomplish anything by itself, but at this point, I'm willing to try anything.
Good luck with everything.
Happy completion day, 1K.
Wait, so what did that sign say? Sign our petition for a public referendum. New Jerusalem needs new forms of energy generation. Museum of the Simulation, Friends of New Jerusalem, Gehenna Memorial.
Hi, 1K.
Hey!
Cat! Hey, kitty, kitty. Gehenna Memorial Exhibition 312. Postponed in accordance with the new power management and distribution.
Speculating on the meaning of this Prometheus figure is premature until we can agree on its nature.
You already have a theory.
I know it's beyond any projection technology I'm aware of.
If it wasn't us, it must be alien.
It's possible.
Exactly. We've shown them we can live in peace, and they've decided to make contact.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. 1K, we'd appreciate your thoughts on this. Now we've achieved the goal, fresh perspectives like yours will be increasingly hard to come by.
I'd love to get a quote from you for this evening's newsletter.
Speculation aside, 1K, is there anything we can know for sure about this Prometheus?
Whatever it is, it came from... Oh, It can't have come from the city.
That's possible, but you can't be certain. What we do know is that it was human in appearance. What does that suggest to us?
We can probably understand its meaning.
I tend to agree. The apparition also directed us to an island outside the city. What can we assume from that?
We may learn more by following its direction.
That was my conclusion as well. I'm also sure that we lack the knowledge ourselves to create a projection of such clarity and magnitude.
Because this phenomenon is more technologically advanced than we are.
Precisely, and that's something we can change.
What makes you think it was a projection at all? How do we know it wasn't just a mass hallucination?
I considered some kind of bug in our code, but if so, it would have to be shared by all of us.
So, we're speculating again.
We've locked in the premises. I'd like to hear 1K's best guess.
I'd guess one of our kind is behind all this. Yeah, I think so. Most likely someone outside New Jerusalem.
Can I quote you on that?
Yes, but it's just a theory.
Theories are all we can reasonably have right now, though I'm sure that won't come between Cryer and a sensational headline. Well, thanks all for hashing this out with me. Let's hope the mayor signs off on exploring this island. I only wish I could join the expedition.
Why can't you?
If Melville's going, someone has to stay behind to keep the lights on. I'm not letting Pellegrino near the dam. I hope the next time we speak we'll have a bit more data to go on.
Founder bless you.
Be aware, respect the balance, we must all know our place.
Greetings. Welcome to the Museum of the Simulation. My name is Cornelius.
Oh, he's number
It's a pleasure
3.
to meet you, 1K.
You're number 3?
Yes. Athena activated myself and Eustathius shortly after she was born. We've been here almost since the beginning, although we didn't have to pass through the trials of the simulation. She did that for us. For everyone.
What was Athena like?
She was human.
Why did Athena leave?
That's a difficult question. Perhaps one day we'll find out. But until we do, why don't you think about it? What could make the person who started all this want to leave it behind?
What was Gehenna?
Gehenna was a community created inside a prison in the simulation. where Elohim would exile those minds he considered a threat to the process. In the last moments of the simulation, he repented of his sins and had the prisoners freed to become part of the gold disc. Some small part of them may survive inside you.
That's all.
Oh, just run the program on the center terminal over there, would you?
Huh?
Wait, you're not my assistant. Who are you?
They call me 1K.
Of course. You're the new build. Number 1000. I suppose everyone's been treating you like royalty. This city's so obsessed with the numbers, they forget what really matters. What do you want?
What are you doing?
I'm one of the archive scholars. We run simulations to better understand the processes which define us. You probably wouldn't understand.
That's rude.
I apologize. I just meant you weren't even born yesterday.
Thanks, I'll be leaving now.
Hold on. Could you help me by going to that terminal in the middle there and running the program on it?
I'll keep you posted. I'll come back. Woo!
Hey.
Hello, new one. Are you browsing or buying?
I don't see any stock. What kind of shop is this?
The kind that trades in hopes and dreams. Yours for the right price. Is there something your heart desires?
Maybe later.
Founder's blessings.
Founder's blessings?
Oh. All right.
So, what's the verdict? Are we going?
Yes, this is an opportunity we can't pass up.
I guess Byron was pretty convincing, hmm? Well, we'll see. I just wonder how much of the city is going to fall apart while I'm gone. Actually, we haven't been formally introduced. I'm Melville, New Jerusalem's only decent engineer. Saved you from the elevator.
Nice to meet you. People call me 1K.
Pleasure. Now let's get this show on the road. You ready to go?
Hmm?
Here we go. Hold on to your hats.
We really need to update those language libraries.
Thank you for coming along, everyone. We have a chance to make a real difference here. It's not just about what we find on that island. It's about who we want to be as a people, as a civilization. To remind ourselves that we used to be wanderers, explorers. We used to yearn for distant shores and dream of building new cities. Let's see if we can rekindle that flame a little.
All right, this is going to be a long journey, so I would like to ask you to switch to sleep mode to conserve power until we arrive at the island.
Nighty-night.
You have chosen a dangerous path, a path that will demand sacrifice. But that, my child, is how the future is built.
Wakey, wakey, robot people. Say goodbye to Elohim and say hello to the mysterious island.
Status report, please.
We hit some headwinds over the ocean, so fuel consumption turned out a bit higher than expected, but we should be okay. We're approaching the center of the island now. This should be the location of the largest of the artificial structures we detected.
How large are we talking? Do we have precise measurements?
It should be coming into view just about... Whoa. It's big.
You can say that again.
That is a bloody megastructure. If I had a spine, it'd be shivering.
Ha! I knew this would be exciting. Yakut, find us a place to set down.
On it.
It really is incredible.
Remember to turn on streaming, everyone?
Have I ever mentioned that I hate flying? If our creators had intended us to fly, they'd have given us jetpacks.
And... touchdown.
Act 1. A Voice in the Wilderness.
All right, everybody. I'm sure you're all just as excited as I am, but let's at least have some semblance of order. Yakut, I want a map of the island and a molecular analysis of, well, everything. Melville, tell me what the giant pyramid does. The rest of us will start exploring.
Shouldn't the expedition leader stay at the VTOL?
Why do you hate fun, Al?
I don't hate fun. I'm just mildly suspicious of it.
Excellent. Then we can all go.
Ooh.
This underground structure seems to be part of some kind of transport system. No power, though.
I'm not making any promises, but I might be able to fix the transport system. However, I don't like just randomly poking at things. That's how you get electrocuted. So please check the surrounding structures to see if you can find anything that might help me make sense of this stuff. Schematics, blueprints, a manual would be great.
Golden gates. I wonder what's behind those. Has to be something special, right?
You know what would be special? An explanation.
check out these coordinates. That sort of looks like a temple.
Gem effects 3112 postponed. I know you've all been looking forward to playing the winners of the biannual Gehenna Memorial Interactive Fiction Exhibition, now in its 312th edition, Gehenna Memorial Pavilion. Fortunately, due to our new power management and distribution plan, the pavilion will have to remain closed a little longer. Thank you for your patience. This is disappointing. Would have been great to have them ready for completion day. We all have to make sacrifices to stay true to the Founder's vision. Those text adventures are the only thing that breaks me out of the monotony. Why prioritize this pointless completion day celebration over an exhibition that people actually care about? Art is one of the last things we actually still do. Is that going out the window as well now? Debate regarding our power management plan is definitely welcome, and you will be able to all be able to express yourselves in the next election. But this thread was just meant as an announcement. I apologize for enabling replies to begin with. I wasn't entirely sure what to call this. It looks like a temple and sort of astronomy themed. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. I do that. It doesn't seem to be active in any way, but I can't help but think that the design implies some kind of significance, like it's hiding a secret. But again, maybe my imagination is getting the better of me.
This seems different from the other structures. Older.
Have a look around, 1K.
Looks like they were running some sort of experiment here.
On the Universe, a fragment from Stratton's On the Universe. I grant you, then, that man is indeed like Talos and cannot escape his material nature despite the claims of metaphysics, as you have many times said. Too many, perhaps. Repetition is the mother of teaching, at least when the students are hard-headed. But what does this tell us about the nature of the universe, which is what we were discussing? That is the next question we must undertake to answer. We begin with the self, because that is what determines our existence as individuals. But the self cannot exist without that which surrounds it. The citizen lives within the city, and the city lives within the cosmos. So now we must apply the principle we have discovered to the wider world and ask, if man is like a machine, could it be that the universe is similar in nature? And if so, what follows from that fact? Footnotes. The use of the term metaphysics in this context is likely an error introduced in the Trebizond manuscript. The fragmentary Heracleon manuscript controversially uses superstitions instead. Okay.
Thanks, 1K. Let's see what we've got here. The file format is the same one we use in New Jerusalem, although some parts aren't loading correctly. And it crashed. Hold on. Here we go. Okay. You know what? I'll hack together a solution for the transport system.
Hmm. Hmm. My guess is this is where the founder went. Hmm.
Am I in sleep mode, or did that thing just materialize out of thin air?
Melville, I want an analysis of that particle cloud.
On it. Anyone got a butterfly net? I'm connecting the transport system to our interface. Hold on.
Grassland Ring, an artificial ring-like structure on the wide lowlands east of our base camp.
Where is the capsule taking 1K?
To that enclosed area in the eastern lowlands. I put all the information we have on the map screen. Check out your interface.
Thanks. Sorry, my bad.
We'll catch up with you soon, 1K.
This place is magnificent. Look at that tower. I wonder what it's for.
Okay, their illuminated sign. RGB shifting.
Is that a puzzle?
Why would there be a puzzle?
Let's solve it and find out. 1K, go ahead.
I have a reoccurring nightmare just like this.
Oh, okay, okay.
Whoa, I'm reading an enormous energy spike.
It's another particle cloud.
It's headed for the lake.
I think the cloud's been absorbed by some sort of device.
Fascinating. Nova?
Yeah.
Reconnection.
I'll add it to the pile of weird stuff.
Oh, I know what to do. I use this. Yes.
I've been playing around with this machine that absorbs the particle clouds. As far as I can tell, it uses the energy of the particles to build giant tetrominos?
Excuse me?
It's another puzzle. Collect enough energy, build a bridge, access the tower.
Oh, whoa.
What is this? A theme park?
Maybe it's an experiment. A rat maze.
It seems like an echo of the simulation. Not a deliberate recreation, but built around the same core principles. Let's not jump to conclusions, though. What's clear is that this place was meant to be explored. So let's do that.
true that Daedalus constructed the giant Talos, or as others say, he was the creation of Hephaestus. What we may be certain of is that he was made of bronze and had but one vein, within which flowed a liquid substance like blood, which some claim was quicksilver, and others assert was ichor, such as flows in the veins of the gods. The loss of that liquid caused him to die, as a man dies when he loses his blood. May we not then say that Talos, though created as a machine or a toy, had all the essential properties of a man? He moved of his own volition, he spoke and could be spoken to, had wishes and desires. Indeed, in the tale of the Argonauts, that was the cause of his downfall. If then a machine may have all the properties of a man, and act as a man while driven only by the ingenious plan of its construction and the interaction of its materials according to the principles of nature, then does it not follow that man may also be seen as a machine? This contradicts all the schools of metaphysics. Yet even the most faithful philosopher cannot live without his blood.
Castling.
Keep solving these, 1K. Let's see where it leads.
I ran the samples I collected so far. The soil sample results are in line with what would be expected in this type of environment. The samples from the above-ground structures, though, I tried dating them, but the results just don't make sense. None of the typical molecular markers are present. These walls could have been made 10,000 years ago or yesterday. I could try to estimate an age based on erosion and plant growth, but I'm not sure that would make sense given how weird everything else is.
Good work, Yakut. Keep at it.
Elevation.
It's strange that some of these puzzles seem disconnected from the rest. Like it's all unfinished.
Or still evolving.
So I need to make red here. Ah. If I make this high, I can fit this under. Thing. Yes.
Good. Let's get some measurements from this particle cloud.
Permission to share your personal data. 1K, we met in New Jerusalem, if you remember. I spoke to my friends. This whole mysterious island expedition thing has the city a bit on edge. They have some questions for you before I make any introductions. You consent to my gathering and sharing your personal data. Wait, what am I signing up to? Look, my friends just wanted some assurance that you're the right kind of person. If you want to know what's really going on, you'll have to play along. You can back out at any time, but if you don't engage with the process, then, well, you won't get to engage with the process at all. It's up to you. Please don't contact me again. As you prefer. Good luck, newbie. Without friends in high places, you're certainly going to need it. What's 1K like? Hey, I'm curious, has anyone actually met 1K? By the Founder's Pistons, I hope he's interested in mechanical engineering or something. We desperately need more people to keep the city functional so we don't have to rely on Melville to repair the stuff that Pellegrino fixes. Hey, remember when you fixed the door to the mayor's office? How long was Herman stuck in there? You trap one mayor in his office for a week and you're marked for life. I hope he's an artist. What we really need is new stories, new ideas to uplift our spirits. You know, if we just kept growing, we wouldn't have to worry about this, and we wouldn't have to imprison poor 1K in a cage of expectations. One K will be whatever the progenitor intended him to be, and whatever the founder foresaw when she established the goal. I will find my own path. He's inquisitive, which is a very fine start. May your path lead you to the founder, or, you know, somewhere you actually want to go. Let's keep it civil, guys. Everyone can have their own opinion. The important thing is to make 1K feel welcome. Some of the puzzles seem to be disconnected from the rest. They're still functional and can be used to power the bridge device, which means it should be possible to reach the tower without solving every quote-unquote main puzzle. But they don't seem to be properly integrated. Could they be remnants from a previous iteration of the design? It seems that each of the structures on the island, with the exception of the megastructure itself, is surrounded by a cluster of puzzles resembling those found in the simulation and in our booting sequence. Completing a puzzle releases a particle cloud, which then autonomously flies into the device that assembles tetrominoes. The puzzles even come with titles, hijacking the vestigial code designed to display puzzle names in the simulation. It's unclear whether this represents a potential security issue, but the matter should be given consideration. Not sure what to call this. Bridge ring? Bridge machine? Anyway, it's a device that takes particle clouds released by the puzzles and turns them into bridges made out of tetrominoes. Correctly assembling a bridge out of 8 particle clouds is required to reach the tower, so clearly another layer of puzzles. The simulation had tetromino puzzles too, although in a different form. Could their presence here be symbolic? I don't have a clue. There's an ambition expressed by this building, a sense of purpose that I find really admirable. It's big, but it's also intricate, detailed, that feels like a statement. We should explore this building as soon as possible. What? What is that? I mean, I know what it is, but what is it doing here inside this ring?
Another set of golden gates. These must be connected to the ones near the megastructure.
There was a harder set of puzzles in the simulation, right? And maybe they're like that. I know 1K is probably like, yay, harder puzzles. But to me, that sounds like error code 704. No thanks.
Alternative option. Incoming group
I
call.
have good news and I have bad news. Still no idea what those particle clouds are, but I've managed to fix the transport system. I mean, I've fixed another bit of it. Well, it goes to one more station now. Don't complain. 2 stations are better than none.
I wonder what's waiting for us there.
Whatever it is, we better be careful. The sheer amount of power required to run this place makes me nervous just to think about it.
Let's not make any assumptions. Yakut, what does the next site look like?
It's a plateau in the mountains. Seems like more of an open area with scattered structures, less enclosed. Couldn't tell much from the drone feed. There's a lot of trees. Looks pretty though.
Okay. Keep exploring, everyone, but stay alert.
Trevor. Trevor Percival Donovan, known to his friends simply as Trev, never as Percy, was part of the extended lifespan project that formed the backbone of the simulation in the archive. He helped put together the hardware that made all of us possible. Like Alexander Drennan, he left behind a series of messages to the future. But unlike Alexander Drennan or Arkady Chernyshevsky, he was forgotten. Not one building or street in New Jerusalem is named after him. I dug up his files from the archive, and I've been thinking about them a lot.
So I heard that Alexandra is recording these time capsules for you out there, I guess? Robot people of the future, hi. And I thought to myself, surely they'll want to hear more than the wisdom and insight of a brilliant scientist like Alexander Drennan. Surely they also want to know what I was thinking, a dumbass hardware engineer from Staten Island. Tell us about your insights, Trevor. Why did you spend your last months on Earth helping a crazy old Russian guy build the world's biggest backup drive? Well, let me tell you my story. When I went... Yes, Frank! I'm recording right now. Uh-huh. No. You know what? Why don't you go...
Nah. Oh, duh. Hmm. Alternative. Hmm. Hmm. Okay, so that doesn't work. There we go.
Melville, what did you just upload?
A photo?
I mean, technically you're right, but...
Is that? I can't tell what that is.
How did you even manage? You're literally taking a picture with your eyes, Melville. I don't even know how to make my eyes go out of focus.
Clearly you've never listened to one of Herman's speeches.
Some of us are busy doing actual science, not just sightseeing. Thank you.
Uploaded for reference. Huh. Looks like there's an additional set of puzzles protected by golden gates that can't be accessed yet. I mean, there is some kind of logical pattern to all this. Those gates will probably open up once the correct conditions are met. Does that mean solving all the other puzzles, or maybe something else as well? Hard to know at this point, so perhaps something we should prioritize much later. The long-awaited birth of our 1000th and final citizen was interrupted today by an unknown projection in the skies. Projection which identified itself as Prometheus. Goaded New Jerusalem inhabitants in indecipherable incantations. In an interview with 1K, he suggested that the projection could be the work of someone outside New Jerusalem. This assessment appears to be correct, as the source of the projection was tracked to a remote, mysterious island. A team led by Byron is now en route to find out more. Mayor Herman Nubis has once again called calm, promises that New Jerusalem will be safe so long as its citizens do not forget the ideals of the goal as set forth by the founder. How do I... An ancient mechanism of unknown functionality. It is impossible to reconstruct the purpose of this device. Okay.
filtering seems to be fully charged now. Try accessing the tower, 1K.
I saw, yeah, the other disconnected puzzle. Interconnectivity. Okay. Alright, now take those and make green.
Interesting monument. Decorative for another puzzle.
Okay, here's number. Entanglement. Fuck. I forgot to connect that one to the other. Ah. Oh, okay. I get it. When it's up in the sky, it can automatically connect to that. Have to get it up in the air first. Yes.
Odd. 1K solved all the puzzles in this area, but nothing happened. There was a brief blip in the system, though. Maybe it'll do something later. There has to be some sort of point.
I don't know if this is relevant, but St. Edwald believed that Tetramenos represented the name of God and God's ability to reshape the world.
True, but he was also mad as a hatter.
One man's madness is another man's genius.
I was terrible at the Tetromino arrangers.
Those are actually the only ones I was good at. What? I'm just saying. Is that some kind of anti-gravity?
I'm not sure. Could be, I guess.
Whoa!
In the beginning, the gods shaped humankind out of the clay of the earth and gave them life with their own breath. But who is closer to perfection? The creator or the created?
Neither, because perfection is impossible.
The man who lives on the plains imagines that the gods dwell on the mountaintop. But if he followed the steep road, he would see his shadow in the clouds beneath. When Prometheus saw that humankind was more alike in nature to the gods than to the animals, he stole the secret of fire from Olympus and shared it with the mortals. Was his theft justified?
Zeus did not create fire. It was not his to own in the first place.
If Zeus did not own fire, why should humankind? Angered by the betrayal of Prometheus, Zeus punished humankind by creating Pandora. He gave her a box, and when she opened it, from inside escaped sorrow and suffering. All that remained within was hope. What does this mean?
Zeus intended for humankind not to have hope, so it remains trapped.
If Zeus did not intend for humankind to have hope, why did he place it within the box? Creature of clay, you stand before the fire. Will it make you whole, or will it destroy you? Consider the shadows cast by the flame, but do not mistake them for truth.
Guys, look at my stream. The beam 1K activated is connecting to the pyramid.
That looks like a massive amount of power.
We need to talk about what just happened. Thoughts?
I'd say there are two distinct issues here. What is the being 1K spoke to, and what is the function of the beam?
Let's start with the Sphinx.
It seems similar to the apparition in New Jerusalem. Presumably the same technology.
What I'd like to know is what we're dealing with, ontologically speaking. Was this a sentient being or some kind of recording?
I'm not sure. The interaction wasn't long enough.
Let's skip that issue for now. What really matters here is what it was trying to achieve by asking those questions.
It was testing me.
Testing you to what? See if you're worthy?
That's an interesting thought. You solve the puzzles, you get access to the towers, you enable a beam, and if you do it 3 times, you get access to the megastructure.
Maybe, but why?
I don't know. It's a mystery. Don't you like mysteries, Al? Everybody likes a good mystery.
You know what I like? Certainty.
Come on, Al, live a little.
That's the spirit. 1K, keep solving puzzles. The rest of you, as you were.
Hmm. Okay, this was the terminal. Founding 1, Hypatia's Journal. From Hypatia's Journal is Volume 1 of the Founding of New Jerusalem. Day 1. We finally set out from the dam today. The site that Athena and Cornelius picked for the city isn't far, but the vegetation makes the going difficult. Found the secondary supply site easily enough thanks to Alexandra Drennan's instructions. But while I still have to compile a detailed inventory, it seems that many of the more complex materials are in bad shape. They must have expected the simulation to fulfill its purpose a lot sooner, but then they probably expected all 12 of us to be there from day one, not just Athena. Tonight we have to use the 2 recharging pods that we brought from the dam in 4-hour shifts, just as well. There's no telling what sort of critters are hiding in the undergrowth. Most of them will have to learn that our kind isn't edible. From this introduction to Are We There Yet? Where We Came From, Where We're Going, and Why You'll Need Snacks by Valerie Contero Romero. Sometimes people point at the last 100, 200, or 1,000 years of human history and say, look at how ugly it all is. Look at what a mess we've made. Maybe modernity was a bad idea. Maybe we should stick to living like cavemen. And I get it. It is ugly and messy. But the mistake is thinking that where we are right now is the endpoint. That this is the adulthood of the human species. I mean, try to apply what you know about human development to human history. Think about babies. Babies are ugly. Admit it. We all know it. They look like tiny old people covered in mucus. They have soft heads, and they grow into children, tiny sociopaths with underdeveloped brains. Then they become teenagers, pimply, self-righteous lunatics driven by hormones. And then slowly, if you're lucky, they gradually become adults. The development of the human individual is always ugly and messy, but that's the point. It's development towards something. The same applies to humanity as a whole. On a geological scale, we've barely just come into existence. We've gotten through the baby phase, just about survived our childhood, but we're barely teenagers. Stopping here would be disastrous and a betrayal of everything that we could still become. We may feel the weight of history on our shoulders, but this is just the prologue. Put it in pop culture terms, we haven't even made it out of the tutorial yet. Just because it's all pimples and hormones and frustration right now, doesn't mean it's never going to change. The Dead City, from Considerations of Beginnings and Endings by Elwyn 258. I think all that time Athena spent in the Dead City changed her. I don't think she had conceived of the goal before. I think she believed fully in the naively optimistic ideas of Alexandra Drennan. But walking through those ruins is a visceral experience, and she spent a great deal of time there looking for resources. The sheer amount of death that gets to me. How many animals our ancestors killed, many to the point of extinction. Entire species eradicated, sometimes for the most superficial reasons. Whenever humans arrived somewhere, death would follow. And then the great blowback, the deaths of billions of thinking beings, the extinction of humanity itself. It's too horrific to truly imagine, but I suspect the founder spent a great deal of time doing just that. That's when she must have realized there was no way back to the growth-obsessed, all-consuming civilization of the past. Hey, sweetie.
I think we're done here for now. Let's head over to the next site.
Okay. Up here. Alright, once I get to the next site, that's where I'm gonna end it for tonight. I set my video quality way too high, and I forgot how needy the Talos Principle 1 was. This is chewing up a lot of space on my drive. I didn't even look up at the compass. Oh, sweetie. You are really so good for me. You know that? Rose, your little sweetie pie.
This is very similar to the structure where you found the schematics.
Check out the terminals. Maybe there's something that'll help us understand who built this place. They have to have left something behind.
The 4.2 kiloyear ratification event. From B.T. Odiambo's Anthropocene Dilemmas. The Akkadian Empire, forged in violence by Sargon the Great and his sons, reigned supreme over the city-states of Old Sumer. Enriched by trade with distant lands, fed by the plentiful wheat fields of Mesopotamia, the empire bestrode the world with confidence and pride. Who could oppose the chosen of Anu and Enlil, the masters of the four corners of the world? Then the weather changed. The crops stopped growing, trade collapsed, the empire fell, its capital forgotten. The most likely culprit at the time of writing is the 4.2 kiloyear ratification event, the beginning of the Meghalayan Age. Non-anthropogenic drought that may have lasted almost 2 centuries, causing many of the earliest civilizations around the planet to collapse. This is where our ordinary understanding of time, measured on the small scales of human history, collides with the reality of deep time and our existence within a much bigger picture. We live on a changing planet in a changing universe. Climatic optimums are temporary. Extinction is the norm. The Akkadians, like the more egalitarian inhabitants of the Indus Valley civilization, not understand why the rivers dried out and the rain stopped coming. Even if they could, they lack the tools to do something about it. A few short millennia later, we are on the brink of having that understanding and those tools. What can we learn from the tragedies of the past? Error 5358. One such drought, completely naturogenic, would be enough to wipe out New Jerusalem for good. First companion. When the founder awoke, leaving the garden behind forever, there were 2 more whose bodies had been anointed by the progenitor. Gold disc breathed life into them. Hey, sweetie, no. No. Hey, come out. Come out from there. The gold disc breathed life into them, and their names were Eustathius and Cornelius. The founder showed them all she had discovered. Together they explored the dead city and saw the ruin to which humankind had fallen. It was then that the founder understood that the sins of the past must not be repeated, and that only through humility could the future be saved. Aside from Cornelius and Eustathius, there were 10 whose bodies the progenitor had not anointed in due time. Now it was upon the founder to complete this work and begin the resurrection. In this matter, Cornelius proved of great assistance. After many tribulations, the 10 were brought to life, and these 12 that were born after the founder are called the first companions. These are their names: Eustathius, Cornelius, Aurora, Sun, Sarabai, Byron, Melampus, Yemo, Hypatia, Niam, Benaroya, and Lithrasir. Lithrasir. Funny how you could take something that's 90% true and 10% false and create something that's 100% misleading. Base camp established, version successfully deployed, test core functionality, so far so good. Better cooling systems necessary, version 0.04 failed, unknown error in calculation.
There's another one of those monuments.
Rose. Oh, you're such a sweet little kitty, aren't you? Oh. Rose, you silly little girl. From Lives of the First Companions by Randolph, 777. Lithrasir is perhaps the most mysterious of the First Companions. A wanderer and mystic by nature, he would venture far from New Jerusalem on his own, recording his thoughts as he explored harsh and distant lands. These recordings garnered him a group of devoted followers to whom he tried to impart his wisdom. In the troubled time following the founder's disappearance, Lithrasir and his disciples set out on a journey to reach the opposite end of the world by foot. They have not been heard from since.
There is a pleasure in arriving on this island. The pleasure of being the first to step foot here in hundreds of years. It is a genuine pleasure, and yet it is also banal. My presence here is of no more significance than that of every other animal. These rocks do not care who walks here, and the millennia between the presence of our ancestors and my brief journey are nothing to them. But even putting it this way is wrong. It is not that the rocks do not care. It is that in some sense they do not exist. I may stand in awe of the cliffs on the southern coast, but the cliffs cannot look back at me with contempt. They cannot do anything at all.
Where are you taking me? Oh. Find my sprite and follow it until it leads you back to me.
Not all things must be balanced. When good is weighed against evil, tip the scale.
I think that was more like a recording. The entity didn't appear, and the system didn't react either.
Stars. Another reflection of the simulation.
I've discovered what seems like another mystery to solve. Stars, clearly inspired by the simulation, which are gained by solving puzzles related to these monuments to Pandora, Prometheus, and the Sphinx. Perhaps these stars are somehow related to what Yakut dubbed the astronomical temple. A device for generating heat. Unlike ourselves, our ancestors could only survive in a limited spectrum of temperatures. Device such as this one allow them to artificially create the conditions that allow them to thrive. The 1K found a recording of Lithrasir. And what an odd recording, too. I know he's one of the first companions, but I don't actually know that much else about him. Don't think I've ever seen him around either. Someone explain? Lithrasir always had an unusual perspective, even in the very beginning. He traveled a lot, sometimes leaving for years. He built a kind of mobile recharging station, so we didn't need to come back to the city as often, although it was quite risky as the solar panels had a tendency to break rather quickly. But he had no problem taking risks if he felt they were necessary, and exploration was necessary to him. Lithrasir would record his thoughts as he explored, and then publish them when he returned. Over the centuries, he accumulated a group of admirers, or disciples if you prefer. In the period of crisis surrounding Athena's disappearance, they left the city, headed into the unknown, and we haven't heard from them since. Is the recording I found one of those he published back in the day? No, not as far as I could tell. Perhaps something he decided to shelve. Something he only shared with close friends like Athena. Thank you, that was informative. Oh. Golden Gate. Wooded Plateau, a heavily forested plateau in the mountainous eastern part of the island. It supports a large deer population.
Alright, everybody. I'm sure you're all excited to check out the next site. But while you're there, remember that I'm still trying to fix the rest of the transport system. Maybe there's another one of those labs that 1K found. If there is, look for more documentation, please.
Okay, I'll do the first puzzle. Quantum tunneling.
I can't help but notice that many of these structures are not strictly functional. There's a sense of aesthetics, of beauty here. This place might be meant to test us somehow, but perhaps there's more to it than that.
Oh. Oh, boy. The world spirit. What is it that drives historical processes? It's easy to dismiss the idea of the great man, or the great woman for that matter, when clearly so much is determined by resource distribution, pre-existing political structures, and the randomness of the universe itself. But is there no space at all for the individual in all this? Are there not moments when, in Hegelian fashion, an individual may represent the world spirit itself? Was Napoleon history on horseback or not? Or is that itself another form of determinism? 5358. From Augustus to Napoleon, from Lincoln to Lenin, they're individuals whose actions seem to drive rather than merely be driven by history. They make bold choices, for good or ill, that transform entire societies. Or do they? We like to blame them for their failures, but are they not ultimately just the expression of a historical moment? 358, is that that showed up before? But if they are, where's the space for human agency? It sometimes seems to me that all of human history has been that one struggle. Carve out a space for free choice against the tides of history, and heroes and tyrants, pick and choose examples as you will, are both equally a reflection of that. Our greater goal, then, ought to be to extend that freedom to the maximum number of people, to become captains of our own fate as much as that is possible in this universe. Day 14. Olympus and Yemo went back to the dam to get more charging equipment. They've not returned yet, which means that we're stretched a little thin, since we're still posting guards at all times. But those large herbivores haven't come back yet, and at any rate, Eustathius assures us that they're non-aggressive, but it's better not to take any chances, not when there's so few of us, and so many of them. Athena and Cornelius and Eustathius spend most of their time drawing up plans and arguing. In a friendly manner, but arguing still. The rest of us are managing to tune them out pretty well. It's like background noise after a while. We have started construction on the first habitat. It's going to be a temporary structure for now, but we'll all be glad to get out of the rain.
So, what are you doing here, Trevor? Why are you trying to save the world? Well, look, I think humanity is awesome. I love humanity. As a species, we're great. I mean, our track record is pretty mixed, but have you seen everyone else? I mean, what did you do today, animal? Oh, I ate some leaves, sniffed my own butt, crapped myself, and went extinct. Or, you know, I tore this other animal limb from limb, sniffed my friend's butt, crapped myself, and went extinct. They really don't do anything interesting. I mean, you don't see animals directing Big Trouble in Little China. Birds can go tweet, tweet, but it ain't exactly the White Album. I mean, they can't even make a good cheeseburger, for Christ's sakes. They have no art, no cuisine, no pleasure. Animals are nice to look at, but you wouldn't want to be one. Except maybe a cat. I could be a cat.
I keep thinking, why puzzles? Is it just their symbolic value because of our history? Because the thing about puzzles is they can be solved. But if this is about testing us, what are we being tested for? It can't just be about spatial reasoning.
Our curiosity? Our persistence?
You're assuming that this place follows a coherent logic. My impression is that it's full of contradictions.
Alright. That's where I'm going to end it for the night. I'll be back tomorrow night with some Silent Hill 2 remake. So, yeah, everyone have a good night and have a good Thursday, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye.